So a certain Aquaman starlet's lawyer and apparently fan of that umbrella guy decided to talk to the Today Show and basically blame social media for the jury's reaction. Oh, you gotta hear this stuff right here. Oh, fun times. I love it. Fun times indeed. So, hey there. We're gonna just play it and we're gonna go through with commentary. Let's do it now.
Amber Heard's attorney, Elaine Charlson. Brett O'Hoff, good morning to you. It's good to see you. First question, how is Amber doing? We saw her hearing that verdict. It took a long time to read. It was a sweeping verdict for Johnny Depp. How did she handle it?
You know, one of the first things she said is, I am so sorry to all those women out there. This is a set.
This right here is the weaponization that you expect. You expect it right from go.
Back for all women in and outside the courtroom. And she feels the burden of that.
Well, knowing the case and knowing the law, as you certainly do, it favors defendants like Amber Heard. Are you stunned that the jury essentially rejected her story?
Well, you know, really what happened here is it's a tale of two trials. Johnny Depp brought a suit in the UK for the same case, and the burden of proof was easier for him there. The son had to actually prove that it was true, and the court found there, and we weren't allowed to tell the jury this, but the court found that Mr. Depp had committed at least 12 acts of domestic violence, including sexual violence, against Amber. So what? That
is actually not true at all. That is a way of retelling something that even the judge in Virginia said, this is not justice at all. One of those, not 12, that the judge would have given if it would have had a story attached, for example, was just a text message. That's all it was. He apologized. There wasn't any claim attached to it. That one wasn't given to them, but the judge indicated he would have if there would have been more. Amazing, right?
What did Depp's team learn from this? Demonize Amber and suppress the evidence. We had an enormous amount of evidence that was suppressed in this case that was in the UK case. In the UK case, when it came in, Amber won, Mr. Depp lost.
But here's the thing. You were able to get some evidence that you say demonstrated abuse. You certainly had her testimony. There were pictures, documents, all kinds of evidence. But in point of fact, the jury
all kinds of evidence. Again, all kinds of evidence. They're trying to rewrite this. One of the things that made it in, two pictures that were the same picture. The same one had been ran through photo manipulating software. But hey, let's ignore things like that when we're talking about so-called evidence, right?
Rejected it. You argued in your closing arguments that if they found even one instance of abuse, and it did not even have to be physical abuse, that they would have to find for Amber Heard, and they didn't.
That's telling right there too. And what they tried to conflate was mean words to emotional DV. Emotional DV is not mean words. Again, they've tried to make it something that it's not. People, they need to be informed on it. And you know what? I think the jury was informed on it. They understood that text to friends, falling asleep in chairs, even substance use, that's not DV. Well, they didn't like that at all, right?
And the other part to bear in mind here is nothing changed. The op-ed didn't even mention Mr. Depp by name. And so what basically they did here is demonize her. And they did.
The op-ed didn't mention by name. Again, the jury found that even without mentioning him by name, people drew inference to that, and that it cost him his career. So they can go out and spin it however they want. It doesn't matter if she used by name. The jury themselves said so.
They were able to suppress the medical records, which were very, very significant because they showed a pattern going all the way back to 2012 of Amber reporting this to her therapist, for example.
Medical records are not therapy records, by the way. If I go and I talk to a therapist, they are not recording any type of medical record. The only person that she wanted to talk to about so-called medical records was an ear, nose, and throat specialist. She was saying in the aftermath, and this got kicked out too, that, hey, I needed to have some work done on my nose. Yeah, you know, substances will do that too. But hey, you know, again, medical records, right?
We had significant amount of texts, including from Mr. Depp's assistants, saying, when I told him he kicked you, he cried. He is so sorry. That didn't come in.
They wanted to bring in the Stephen Deuters text. That's exactly what they're trying to bring in there. Again, as they said plenty of times, this was placating her. And beyond that, one thing that they don't want to tell you, they had all of JD's text messages, not a few. See, they had a selection of hers, but his team accidentally turned over 10 years of text. They had every single text he had ever sent. And what did they spin that into? Oh, well, the monster. You know, that somehow is code for. That's why they end up losing.
Is there any other way to interpret this verdict, though, that this jury, for whatever reason, and I hear you on some of the evidence that they didn't hear, listening to Amber Heard, did not believe a single word?
You know, and that's because she was demonized here. A number of things were allowed in this court that should not have been allowed. And it caused the jury to be confused. We weren't allowed to tell them about the UK judgment. So the damages is completely skewed. There are no damages. It stopped at November 2, 2020, which is when the judgment came down in the UK.
Let me ask you about social media.
Again, they play up the idea, oh, nope, that can't come in. And now here comes social media.
In this case, unlike any celebrity case, certainly I've ever covered or ever seen, social media was a part of this. And it was incredibly lopsided and vitriolic against Amber Heard. Do you think that had an effect on the case?
Absolutely.
You think jurors were aware of it? They weren't supposed to be. They're admonished every single day. Don't look at it. Do you think they did see it?
How can you not? They went home every night. They have families. The families are on social media. We had a 10-day break in the middle because of the judicial conference. There's no way they couldn't have been influenced by it. And it was...
So again, they're claiming, hey, well, you know, we had jury out there. The jury was, they weren't locked down enough. So, of course, it had to be social media. There always has to be something else, right?
Was horrible. It really, really was lopsided. And I appreciate your saying that. It's like the Roman Colosseum, you know, how they viewed this whole case. I was against cameras in the courtroom, and I went on record with that and had...
She was against cameras, exactly. Why would you be against cameras? Because when you put cameras in there, people saw your client. They saw your client for exactly what they were. Yeah, maybe that's why social media reacted the way they did.
Argued against it because of the sensitive nature of this, but it made it a zoo.
Does your client want to appeal?
Oh, absolutely. And she has some excellent grounds for it. We even had tried to get the UK judgment in to dismiss his case because he already had his shot. And that's one of the issues, but also a number of the evidentiary issues. There was so much evidence.
The UK trial is not, they tried and they failed getting dismissed. And that is one of the issues that is not an excellent ground for appeal because it's another system. It's something that has nothing to do whatsoever with the U.S. But hey, you know, again, lie to the media, lie to the public.
Evidence that did not come in.
Is she able to pay a $10.4 million judgment?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Finally.
Wait, I thought she was able to do all of this stuff. I thought that she could just go to war continuing, try to take somebody's life down. She got a $10.4 million decision against her. How is she going to afford an appeal, by the way, if she can't afford that? That's fascinating, right?
In closing arguments, Amber's team argued that this would send a message, that it would send a message that no matter what you do as an abuse victim, you always have to do more. You need to be perfect in order for people to believe you if she did not get a favorable verdict. What message do you think this sends? It's
a horrible message. It's, as I said, a setback. It's a significant setback because that's exactly what it means. Unless
weaponization again of some type of identity. And it doesn't matter about males out there that have been through this. The message to them is to sit down, to be quiet, make sure never ever to say anything out loud.
you pull out your phone and you video your spouse or your significant other beating you, effectively, you won't be believed.
Elaine Charlson, Bredehoff, thank you very much for your time this morning.
And we did have video, by the way. We did have audio. All of that stuff in here. Somebody was videotaping, weren't they? That certain Knuckleman starlet did it again and again. They tried to put together a narrative. They lost. And of course, this is what you get. The media trying to rewrite. It's going to be a fun month to see exactly how this is spun, appeals and everything. Oh, man. Anyway, let me know what you think about this. And as always, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Thank you. Till next time.